On Thursday, April 12th. The meeting is called to order, and the purpose of this meeting is twofold. One is a recall hearing to determine factualness and clarity only of the petitions to recall Tamara Locke, and also of the from the Walled Lake City Council, and also approval and allotment of Democratic precinct delegates for the August 7th, 2018 primary election. Would Elections Division please call the roll?
Judge Ryan?
Present.
Clerk Brown? Here. Treasurer Meisner?
Present.
All right.
And was the meeting posted?
Yes, it was.
All right. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve today's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, the motion carries. Would anyone motion regarding approval of the minutes from?
321.
Okay, 321, thank you.
And I will move.
Support.
All right, the motion carries. We'll move to the language petition. Petition number 1, which reads as follows. We, the undersigned, registered and qualified voters of the city of Walled Lake in the county of Oakland and state of Michigan, petition for the calling of an election to recall Tamara Locke from the office of city council person for the following reasons. In violation of section 54-37 of the Walled Lake Code of Ordinances, votes on Parks and Recreation Commission as a commissioner while holding office as a city council member. All right. I'd like to discuss the clarity of this petition. Yeah, all right. I apologize in advance. I grabbed my wrong set of glasses today, and that is the truth. And so it's not the proper strength. So that's why. Nonetheless, does any president who wishes to speak in support of the petition? All right, ma'am, if you would please come up to the podium and sign your name on the sheet provided by the Elections Division so we have the proper name and spelling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Susan Helke. I live in Walled Lake. According to the minutes of the regular council meeting dated January 19th, 2016, Mayor Ackley said the Parks and Recreation Commission is in need of a liaison as well. Councilmember Locke volunteered. Council Motion 1-14-16. And I am reading this directly from the minutes. Motion to appointment Tamara Locke as the Parks and Recreation Commission liaison. Motion by Robertson, seconded by Ambrose, carried unanimously. The remainder of this motion is in the minutes as to appointment Bennett Loveland as the library board liaison. This obviously is a typo because this council motion had to do with Tamara Locke. According to the minutes of the February 8th, 2016 Parks and Recreation meeting, Councilperson Locke was included in the roll call. Included was the statement, "The commission welcomed Tamara Locke to the commission. She is our new liaison from City Council." Also included in the minutes was the following. Commissioner Locke felt that a sign at Mercer Beach showing the location of other city parks would be a nice feature to the beach area and be informative. It would be under plexiglass.
Ma'am?
Yes.
We're talking about the language about the the clarity of it.
Okay.
Why do you believe this is clear so the voters would know?
Okay.
So if you could focus on that.
Okay. I am showing that Councilperson Locke, who had been a councilperson for several years before she was appointed to the Parks and Recreation Commission as liaison, immediately started being referred to as Commissioner Locke. Fast forward to,
Okay, sorry, again, we're looking at the language here, so what you just said is not something that's...
It's not helpful.
Right? That's not, we're just looking at the language that I'm assuming you wrote on this piece of paper, right? So, I don't know what...
well, are you're zeroing in on what is factual? Is that right?
It's a clarity.
Or you're just looking at clarity?
No, we have to look at both.
And
Okay,
so-
that's what the law says. But
Right.
it's the language that's specifically on this.
Yes.
Is it
Okay.
factual and is it clear?
Well, that's what I'm trying to show, the fact.
It's not the truthfulness of it. Is it factual and is it clear? Would a voter understand what this is saying?
I don't understand the difference between factual and truthful.
Well, you know what? Honestly, and there is some disagreement about that. So
There is.
what I'd like to do first, though, and what we've always done is address clarity first.
Okay.
Okay? And so if you can address that, because quite frankly, quite often, almost more often than not, we find that language isn't clear and we don't get even to that second question.
Okay.
So, so if you can address the clarity issue first and we can move on from there, that would be very helpful.
Okay. If we address that first, will I get another opportunity to address the factual?
Yes, I mean, we're not cutting you off, it's just if we can get to that part first, I think it would be helpful because,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you read that again?
It's,
Can someone read the wording again?
do you not have a copy of your
I don't have it.
petition?
I don't have it up here with me.
In violation of Section 54-37 of the Walled Lake Code of Ordinances, votes on Park and Recreation Commission as a commissioner while holding office as a city council member. Those are the words of the petition before the body now.
Okay, so it cites section 54-37 as prohibiting Councilperson Locke from serving as a councilperson and a Parks and Recreation Commissioner. I have here a list of numerous times that Councilperson Locke has voted as a commissioner on the Parks and Recreation Department, or Parks and Recreation Commission, and also has been referred to a very large number of times as Commissioner Locke. I think it's very clear that Section 5437 prohibits Councilperson Locke from serving as a council member and as a voting member of the Parks and Recreation Department Commission. That's all I have to say on clarity. Would you like me to sit down or?
No, you don't have to sit down, I just, no, continue, please.
Well, that's all I have to say on clarity. Should I address the?
No, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, the commission welcomed Tamara Locke to the commission. She is our new liaison from City Council. March 14th, Locke was absent. April 11th, Locke was absent. May 9th, according to the minutes of the Parks and Recreation meeting, Parks and Recreation motion number 05-02-16, motion to approve the equipment rental and movie rental, moved by Rondo, supported by Locke, unanimously carried. June 2016 absent, July 2016 absent, August 2016 absent. We can go all the way down to, she was absent until April 10th of 2017.
Okay, I hate to do this, but I'm going to interrupt you again.
That's all
Because
right.
what you're saying with her absences is nothing that's in this language. So again, if you can keep it to what is, all
What
these other
facts are
things
you
or something
alleging?
else. So
This is what we
it's-
need to-
It's
All
just
right.
specifically to,
I was trying to point out that she did not vote at those meetings because she wasn't there.
And what does that have to do with the recall petition language?
I have a list of times on the Parks and Recreation Commission when she voted, which was basically every time she was there.
Okay, you don't need to give us the particulars. That was a good summary with
Okay.
regard to, that's what we're looking for.
Okay, all right,
That
thank
you
you.
say, and correct me if you disagree, Lisa or Andy, but I believe that's where you're saying it's factual, that she did in fact vote on the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Okay,
That's what you're getting at, right?
Yes.
Saying that's your factual statement.
that's in 3 pages. Yes.
No, I understand. This is new to you,
That's fine.
and
It is very new
you're
to me.
doing absolutely fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about the factualness of this petition?
Well, I have from the meeting minutes where the mayor actually appointed Tamara Locke to the Parks and Recreation Commission as a commissioner. Do you want to hear that?
I don't need to read the minutes. You can just state what you believe is factual on
Okay.
this.
On April 18th, 2017, there were 6 people appointed to the Parks and Recreation Commission as commissioners. Tamara Locke was one of them. And it states that they were appointed as commissioners. And I have a copy of from the Walled Lake Code of Ordinances, section 54-37. You look like you'd like to hear it?
I got it right here too.
Okay. I'll just read the first line. The Parks and Recreation Commission shall consist of 7 members as follows. 1 member of the Planning Commission and 6 members who shall be residents of the city and who shall not be members of the City Council.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other proponents in support of this petition that would like to speak? All right. Are there anyone present who wishes to speak in opposition of this petition?
Good afternoon. My name is Van Den Haren.
All right, thank you, and I see you're writing your name on the list. Thank you.
The petition language as proposed does not meet the statutory requirement of being sufficiently clear and factual, and in fact it is highly misleading in the sense that it uses the words "in violation of." And the reason I say that is as follows. At the November 2nd, 2010 general election, the City of Walled Lake voters for the City of Walled Lake overwhelmingly approved an amendment to the Walled Lake City Charter. It's Charter Proposal Number 2, which states as follows. Walled Lake City Charter Section 5.1 precludes appointment of elected city officers to appointed city offices. This amendment allows for appointment of 1 elected official to each of the following appointed boards and commissions. Number 1, the Planning Commission. Number 2, the Zoning Board of Appeals. And number 3, Parks and Recreation Commission. Shall this amendment as proposed be adopted? I do have I do have the ballot proposal language certified by the Walled Lake City Clerk. I've got the certified election results that show that it received 1,108 votes in favor of passage and 695 votes against. Ms. Locke does in fact serve on both the City Council and the Parks and Recreation Commission. Her current term on the Parks and Recreation Commission is pursuant to not the resolution that was referenced by the sponsor of the petition, Ms. Helke, but pursuant to Council Resolution 2017-30, which was adopted on April 18th of 2017. She had previously served on the Parks and Recreation Commission under that old resolution, but that appointment had expired. Her current service on the Parks and Recreation Commission is pursuant to Resolution 2017-30. Interesting, the sponsor of the petition, Ms. Helke, was a member of the Walled Lake City Council at that time and voted in favor of Ms. Locke's appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission. So our issue with the petition language is that it is misleading, it is unclear, it is not factual in the sense that it states that Ms. Locke has somehow committed a violation of local law and that she is improperly serving on both the City Council and the Parks and Recreation Commission in violation of that local law, which clearly she is not, by evidence by the fact of the charter amendment. Obviously, if there's any conflicts or inconsistencies between the Walled Lake City Charter and any Walled Lake City ordinances, the city charter is clearly controlling. There's outdated language in the city ordinance. We're cleaning it up. It's currently on the next council agenda to remove that language from the local ordinance to avoid any further confusion or misunderstanding by members of the public who are not mindful or don't understand the city charter. So we are in the process of doing that. However, insofar as the language, a reasonable voter who received that petition would read it and certainly think and believe that Ms. Locke was somehow in violation of local law when she clearly is not. So for that reason, the language does not pass the statutory test of being sufficiently clear and factual. It is misleading and it should be denied.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak in opposition of this petition? All right. Well, I'll start the discussion. Not even getting to the factual issue, I personally find this to be extremely confusing, unclear language. First and foremost, it says, for the following reason, in violation. It doesn't say who's in violation. That's just the first step. It says votes on park, it's just confusing. Votes on Parks and Recreation Commission as a commissioner while holding office as a city council member. I actually, in preparation of this hearing, had to read this at least 7 times to try to figure out what it meant. And I still haven't figured out what it meant. So I'm not even going to get to the factual issue because I don't find it to be clear at all.
I agree. I actually looked at the clock to see what time I finally understood what you were saying. And I understood now I understand. But it took me until 25 after to understand what you're trying to say with this.
You picked up on it quicker than I did.
So I agree. I don't think it's clear at all. It shouldn't take me even 5 minutes to understand this, let alone longer than
And if
that.
you're in a voting booth?
Well, this wouldn't be language that would be on the
No,
ballot.
but it's to get the petition, but if you're sitting there, I didn't mean voting booth. I meant
Yeah.
you have people
Right.
trying to get signatures and looking at it. I know that I don't have a lot of patience when I have a random person come to my house, but I am always polite and pleasant for the first 2 minutes. And then after, if I have to ask a lot of questions, then they're interrupting my day. So I just don't think it's clear. Andy, do you have any comments on that?
It didn't take me that long to, I think, read this.
He's just
I'm just
smarter
slow.
than the rest of us.
Yeah.
No, I just want to be able to say that to a judge, but,
I think you've
No.
said that to me before in other areas too.
no, I'm just teasing. Listen, I think that we have, this body has passed language in the past that I think offers clear and factual language, regrettably albeit. But I tend to agree. I think that when I look at it, I think I can kind of get the direction that it's pointing in, but I do agree that it lacks the requisite specificity and clarity for average voter looking at this to be able to say, oh, okay, I know exactly what they're saying and I'm with it or I'm against it. And I think as to the factual basis, you know, I think probably this notion of this language having been superseded by passage of a charter revision, I think would cast some question on the factual basis for it as well. And so on this one, I would be inclined against and would be prepared to make a motion to that effect if the chair would entertain that.
All right, I'll second the motion.
It's passed. We'll need a roll call vote.
A roll call, I apologize. Election Division, please, roll call.
Treasurer Meisner?
What am I saying?
Yes, you're saying.
On your motion.
Yeah,
How
you-
about a yay on the motion? Because it's an affirmative motion to deny. So I'm a yay, yes, thank you. See, it takes me a long time for a lot of other things.
See? That's a yay.
Clerk Brown?
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. We will move to the second recall petition, which reads as follows. We, the undersigned registered and qualified voters of the City of Walled Lake in the County of Oakland and State of Michigan, petition for the calling of an election to recall Tamara Locke from the office of City Council Person for the following reasons. In violation of Section 54-37 of the Walled Lake Code of Ordinances, serves as City Council member and on Parks and Recreation Commission. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in support of this petition? Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in support of this petition? Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in opposition of this petition?
Once again, being married, I would simply reiterate my comments on the previous petition that was presented. It's essentially the same. I don't think there are material differences in the language or the content. I think one of the main problems is, as I said before, the words "in violation of." She's clearly not in violation of any local law. The charter allows her to serve on the Parks and Recreation Commission. The charter trumps the ordinance, so there's nothing illegal or improper about her serving on the Parks and Recreation Commission. So it's not sufficiently factual, clear, and it is misleading by suggesting that she's somehow in violation of local law, when clearly she's not.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present here who wishes to speak in opposition of this petition? All right. We'll discuss the clarity and factualness of this petition. I think this is more clear, but I still don't think it's clear. I think it is very similar to the first petition. It's less language, but it's still confusing. It doesn't say who. It doesn't even have it doesn't say she or her name. It just says in violation. I understand the petition, but I also find that it is misleading. Do you have any comments?
No.
Did you say? How about you, Andy?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Would anybody like to?
I will offer a motion to deny this language.
All right. Will Election Division call the roll, please?
If I need a second.
Yes, second.
Oh,
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, Andy, you threw me for a loop.
I'm sorry.
All right. Now, will the Election Division please call the roll?
Clerk Brown?
Yes.
Treasurer Meisner?
Yes.
Judge Ryan?
Yes. Motion carries. Next recall petition at issue, third one, states as follows. We, the undersigned registered and qualified voters of the City of Walled Lake in the County of Oakland and State of Michigan, petition for the calling of election to recall Tamara Locke from the office of City Council Person for the following reasons. Serves on the Parks and Recreation Commission while a member of City Council. Is anyone present who wishes to speak in support of the petition? Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in support of the petition?
Susan Halke from Walled Lake. This is pretty basic. when you mentioned that it doesn't say who it is it not true that Tamara Locke's name is on the line above? So if you say, "We, the undersigned and registered qualified voters of the city of Walled Lake in the county of Oakland and state of Michigan, petition for the calling of an election to recall Tamara Locke from the office of city council person for the following reasons. She serves on the Parks and Recreation Commission while a member of city council." That's all I wanted to point out.
All right, thank you. Anyone else here present who wishes to speak in support of this petition? All right. Could you please put your name on the list, sir? Thank you. That's all right.
My name is Dennis Curran. I briefly just want to say thanks for going through this. It's a little tedious, but it helps us because we're going to be back next week with another one, so it helps us pin this down, what we need to do next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes, we have one present who wishes to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in opposition to this petition? All right.
Nobody's opposing.
Nobody's opposing this petition?
No, just because someone doesn't
No, that
speak
doesn't mean
against it
nobody's,
doesn't mean
right,
nobody's
they just
opposing
didn't want
it.
to say.
No, but I mean, no one's standing up to.
Right, no
for
one's,
this
no
one or
one's, so then
against
we'll just
That's
discuss
not-
the language.
Yeah, it doesn't-
it. Okay.
All right, why don't you start, Andy?
Well, I think that this is pretty straightforward. I mean, I understand the words there. It says, serves on the Parks and Recreation Commission while a member of City Council. I think I understand the meaning of while. I don't know. I could think of a couple ways I might make it stronger, but I think I certainly understand what it's trying to do. There's probably some other details that would help beef up the factual basis of it. Time frame, sometimes we pass stuff that's got a few more kind of specifics, but pretty simple.
Lisa?
Well, I was going to ask you.
I think it's clear, but I think it lacks in the factual basis. I guess what's confusing to me and is it's no different than saying serve on the park. It doesn't say whether it's illegal or not legal or why it was right or wrong or like it's kind of like okay. I think it's weak on the factual basis. It's clear, but I don't know what it's gearing towards. That's all I have to say.
I think to your point, I think maybe what you're struggling with, which I have a problem with as well, but it's not what we had before, is that it's not malfeasance or misfeasance in office.
Yeah,
But that's not what's in the law, unfortunately. Because I think that then you have people who act in a retaliatory manner, filing petitions when nobody has done anything wrong.
but that's what this is.
Well,
Possibly. Wait, I'm not following you. I'm sorry. I'm not.
the law doesn't require malfeasance or misfeasance as far as a reason for recalling somebody.
That wasn't
So,
what my intention was.
well, I'm just gonna, for me, because I was in the legislature when the changes to the law happened. And because what happened back then was a bunch of retaliatory acts of people all over the state filing recall petitions, and I will disclose that one was filed against me for voting yes on PA4. And a colleague of mine, also in Oakland County, had a petition filed against her because she voted no on PA4.
Because they didn't like the way they voted.
Right, but things all over the state, and the legislature said as a body, like, we voted, like we did what we're supposed to, whether you like our vote or not, but it became this retaliatory thing of party, you know, and that sort of stuff. And so a discussion ensued is we need to change this, and it should be for malfeasance or misfeasance in office if you're going to recall somebody. But unfortunately, that's not what the bills ended up having. And so it's hard because, I mean, for me in my heart, it's hard because there's nothing wrong, according to what I'm hearing, with somebody serving on both. But it appears to be clear and it appears to be factual. But the fact that, but there's nothing wrong with it, but you want to recall somebody because they did something, and I think it's a little disingenuous that you didn't say that you voted for it. It would have been,
Yeah, I agree
you know,
with that.
it would have been nice for you to be forthcoming about that. That
Can I
you-
answer?
No,
I-
that's not appropriate this time. You had an opportunity.
That was a little troubling to me, but I can't take any of that into consideration. I have to look at the language that's before me. So I do think that it's clear. I do think it's factual. The fact that there's nothing wrong with it is what frustrates me, but that has nothing to do with my decision here. So that's what I was saying, Judge. I think that's where, I think we're kind of struggling with the same thing, like,
Well,
there's nothing wrong with doing that, but that's what.
That was only one part of it. I
Okay, so
still,
you got it.
no, I see your point on that, and I do agree with you 100% on that. I think that the filing of this petition exactly looks like it's retaliatory, absolutely. And if I could be in my other role, in my other job, I'm not. The bottom line, though, I have a problem with, it is clear, absolutely clear. I personally don't find that it's enough. I don't think it's factual enough. I don't think there's enough. I think there needed to be more words. But that's my 2 cents.
You know, I think the legislative history is interesting. It kind of brings us to today where our mandate is pretty clear, to administer the thing the way that the bill ended up, as law. I might have liked to seen it go another way. But in doing that, and I think in objectively fulfilling our responsibility here to determine whether or not this language is clear and factual, I find that this language meets both those standards and would offer a motion to approve.
And
I want to discuss this a little more, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Well, I believe, I do think it's clear. I think it's weak on the factualness. Let me ask, because in the history, we both have more history with regard to this. What is, so, educate me. Somebody could put on a petition, just for example, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but it would be factual and clear if it said, I want to recall somebody because they ride a red bike.
Yeah. Wear blue jeans on Thursdays.
So it doesn't even have to apply to the factual, in your opinion, and your view, and the way
Well, I
it's
think that was Clerk Brown's, point, is that there was a discussion during the legislative process about, whether or not we should dive deeper into the hearts and minds of the people advancing, this language, and whether or not the standard should be that the person committed malfeasance or misfeasance. Regrettably, that standard was not included.
No, I'm not asking about the standard. I'm asking
Yeah.
about
Right.
the factual basis, not the background, whether it's truthful. I'm talking about the facts. It
Yes.
just can be that simple.
yes,
Would you like?
I want them to be
Baseline?
recalled because they have brown hair. That's
Yeah.
factual and clear.
yes.
Yes, if you could.
Yes, so
read me
there is
that, I would
actually
appreciate that.
there is a case, Noel versus Oakland County Clerk, which says a meticulous.
Not me.
No, long time ago.
It weren't me.
A meticulous and detailed statement of the charges against an office holder is not required. And then there are other cases where it's a doubt should be resolved in favor of the individuals formulating the petition.
Okay.
So, I will second, as much as it pains me, I will second Andy's motion.
All right, I'm going to ask the election division to call the roll call, please.
Treasurer Meisner,
Yes.
Clerk Brown,
Yes.
Judge Ryan.
I have been convinced otherwise. Yes. Motion carries. It passes. All right. Recall petition number 4 states as follows. We, the undersigned registered and qualified voters of the city of Walled Lake in the county of Oakland and the state of Michigan, petition for the calling of an election to recall Tamara Locke from the office of city council person for the following reason. In violation of section 54-37 of the Walled Lake Code of Ordinances, serves on Parks and Recreation Commission while holding office as a city council member. Is anybody here present who wishes to speak in support of the petition? Is there anyone here present who wishes to speak in opposition of the petition?
Yes, the Invenarian. I don't think that this, the petition language is materially different than the other petitions and the language in those other petitions that this board has already considered. Once again, it's the language regarding in violation of that is clearly misleading, not clear, not factual, due to the fact that she does lawfully and properly serve on both the city council and the Parks and Recreation Commission pursuant to city charter. I would simply add that the resolution that she was appointed by specifically states that she's being appointed. It says, a resolution accepting the mayor's nomination to fill a vacancy on the Parks and Recreation Commission pursuant to the requirements of the city charter. So that was the resolution, and that was the appointment, was pursuant to city charter. There's no question that city charter allows it. And you know, it's misleading. It would tend, you know, a reasonable voter being presented with with this petition would read that to believe that you know, that there's something improper or wrong or illegal about her serving in both capacity, and when clearly there's no dispute that it's not improper or illegal. So it's misleading and it's not factual.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak in opposition of this petition? All right, Lisa, if you'd like to start.
Well, I found this to be extremely similar to the first and second petitions before us. I actually had to flip between them to see how they were different.
That's what I'm doing right now.
I was like,
I'm
okay, so the
looking,
first
yep.
difference I saw was serves versus votes, and, you know, words switched around, but I think we still have those same clarity issues that we had in the first and second versions before, that were previous before us, that it's just not clear. Without even getting to factual. I don't find it factual either, but.
All right, Andy?
Same, thank you.
Same.
Same as you said.
All right, no, I agree. The same reasons that Lisa spoke. Does anybody have a motion?
Sure, I'll move that this language not be approved. Is that the right way to say it?
Disapprove.
Okay, yeah, there.
Support?
All right, we've got elections division, please call a roll call.
Clerk Brown,
Yes.
Treasurer Meisner.
Yes.
Judge Ryan.
Yes. Motion carries, the petition is disapproved. All right, the next item on our agenda is the commission members us to review a memo and recommended Democrat precinct delegate allocations.
Judge, I included a memo in everyone's
Yes.
packet regarding the allocation. It's necessary for the Election Commission to approve the allocation for the 8th, 9th, and 14th congressional districts for the Democratic Party. What they've submitted, the 210 would be one delegate for every 210 Democratic votes for president. That was submitted after the April 1st deadline. But the 210 allocation does match what was submitted by the 11th Congressional District, which was submitted prior to the deadline, so this would provide some uniformity in the allotment of delegates across all 4 congressional districts for that party. So I've included that in your packet for your consideration and adoption.
I reviewed
Congressional
everything.
districts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, the way, I will say
What was
that...
the
What was the
question?
I'm sorry, I
was,
asked, is it supposed to be
from the congressional district
the
chairs.
congressional district party?
Yeah, and so the way this is written, like most of election law from 1955, is not as crystal clear as we'd like, but 623A gives the either county party chair or congressional district chair the ability to submit those allocations. However, within 623A, it references Section 592, and Section 592 talks about when a county is divided into multiple congressional districts or portions of a congressional district, that those congressional districts shall function as a county, and that would be interpreted as really the congressional district chairs should be the ones that would be submitting those allocations. We've gotten it over the years both ways. It's come from the county party chairs in some years. It's come from congressional district chairs in other years. Our role is ministerial, and it's just to accept the allocation. And so we've done that. This year we didn't get it.
They blew the deadline?
And our office was in communication with them in January and March about new precincts that have been added to make them aware to include those in their allocation. The statute also requires the state political parties. On March 1st, the state political parties are required by law to notify each county political party. So aside from our office kind of going above and beyond and having multiple points of contact with all 3 parties, the statute requires really the state parties to sort of police this activity as well. And so...
And just to cloud election law a little bit more, was that there was an email from the Bureau of Elections that said because April 1st was a Sunday, that April 2nd was acceptable to, still take them then. But again, we still
didn't
April
get it.
2nd.
We didn't get till the
So
3rd.
what the law says, if they don't submit, then it's up to the Election Commission, which is what we are, to then allocate. But they did submit numbers. It's consistent with the numbers that were submitted for the 11th. I'm happy to make a motion to accept this allocation, if there's a second.
I have no questions or any issues, so I'll second it. All right, now, do we do a roll call on this vote?
You can do a roll call on it.
Yes.
Sure.
All right,
All right.
so, well, it's not on it, it's on the script
On
here.
the cheat sheet.
Maybe a shaming in the town square?
Would the election division please call the roll call?
Clerk Brown.
Yes.
Judge Ryan.
Yes.
Treasurer Meisner.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries and this is passed. All right, is there anyone present today who wishes to address the commission on any matters that are not on the agenda today? Anybody? All right, if there's no further business, and I'll make a motion to adjourn the hearing.
Oh, second.